YYV Y2K, aka Why I Oughts to, a 2000s nostalgia podcast. I am your host. My name is Jesse Dram. I'm a comedian. I do all sorts of shit. I have a show coming up at the Comedy Cabaret in Doylestown this Friday night, probably the night you're hearing this. It's going to be a clean set. It's going to be a weird one. The best I can tell, a clean set. So here's the thing. I did a black, clean Christian show a few weeks ago, and that's like no cursing, nothing vulgar, nothing too crazy. This is a different kind of clean show I'm doing on Friday night, where I'm pretty sure I can talk about, well, for one thing, I know I could talk about beheading the current president of the United States, because it's that kind of neighborhood, as long as I don't use any F words. Don't use any F words. I'm going to describe the detailed rotting that happens in a human corpse and how all of our loved ones just slowly rot away 6 feet underground. As long as I don't say fuck. This is going to be a weird challenge. Wow, this is off to a bad start already. You know what we're talking this week? I thought we were going to talk emo. It's been pushed back to next week because I really wanted to do an episode on Jackass. And with Jackass 4, Jackass Forever, coming out this Friday, probably the day you're listening to this, I really wanted to get it out there and talk about those guys. Wow, Jackass. Came out, let's see, when was the debut? I just remember being a very, very young boy. Probably, was it 2000? October 1st, 2000, 2 days before my 14th birthday. The perfect age for this. And here were a bunch of assholes hurting each other. And as a 13-year-old, like, ball taps were the currency of the day, you know? 5 ball taps will get you a shiny nickel and a ride on the ferry. This was the perfect time for this to be young and dumb and easily amused by farts and butts and dildos and also guys getting hurt. And best of all, we're going to talk about this. A lot of kids my age, especially the boys, you know, monkey see, monkey do. So we see a toy car go up a man's ass. That's what we're going to be doing as well. God, the fucking shopping carts at the time. So, just my own personal things. Obviously, I love Jackass. Now, here's something. Depending on where you are geographically, I am in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And before that, I was living in southern New Jersey. But, you know, still not far away. Due to our geographic proximity to Westchester and Bam Margera's crew, Jackass was fucking huge. Some of us had been aware for a little bit of the CKY videos. Well, I'm going to get all into the origins. But point is, it was particularly big around here because not only was it the biggest show in the country, but one of the fucking stars famously lived very close by. If you went to a metal show in Philadelphia from 2000 to 2006, Bam Margera might be there any given time. I unfortunately missed this one because I'm a pussy. My friends went to see King Diamond and fucking met Bam Margera. My friend Matt Merziowski shook his hand, prompting one of the girls in line to say, just the fact that he touches you, I'll suck your dick. Didn't take her up on that. Matt might have been lying. Matt also wrote on his backpack in you know, like the cloth paint you could put on. He also wrote the word Metallica, but he spelled it Matt-Alica to fit his name. That was so fun. He and I became best friends, and it started with me bullying him with my fat friends. Like, Matt-Alica. That is fucking hilarious. He maintained it was a misspelling. He's a fucking liar. But yeah, Jackass was so fucking huge, it would have more interplay. You know what? We're going to get into that. But for right now, let's get into the history. Yes, this episode will be a lot of me reading from Wikipedia and then chiming in, and it'll be great. Guys, check out the past episodes, share, like, subscribe, follow me on everything at Jesse Dram, JESSEDRAHAM. Check me out on YouTube. Check out my standout clips. Come see me do stand-up. I post it on all my things, so just come and find it. Jackass history. By the late 1990s, I gotta be honest, Johnny Knoxville, it's only in retrospect that I realized he was the leader. Yes, I know from day one, it's like, hi, I'm Johnny Knoxville, welcome to Jackass. Bow, now, now, now. He was not even close to my favorite of the guys. My favorite guys were the CKY guys, the, Westchester, Pennsylvania boys. Whoop, whoop. But Johnny Knoxville grew on me with age, especially as he was like the leader of this group. So by the late 90s, aspiring actor and writer had moved from Knoxville to Los Angeles to land work in commercials and support his wife and infant daughter. Among his ideas was to produce an article that involved testing various self-defense equipment on himself as homage to his hero, gonzo journalist Hunter S. Thompson. So there's a few things going on here. First off, Hunter S. Thompson, the psychopath from Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, The Rum Diary, to a lesser extent Where the Buffalo Roam. In his mind, he invented quote-unquote gonzo journalism. He wrote the article. The first thing that was an example of that was an article called The Kentucky Derby is Decadent and Depraved, where his bosses sent him out to write a sports story about the Kentucky Derby. Instead, he didn't watch the race at all. He got super fucked up on a bunch of illicit toxic substances and wrote about the fucking craziness going on around him, like Kentucky Colonels. What was it? Oh yeah, you know how you can tell a Kentucky Colonel because everything is covered. Everything below their waist is covered in vomit except for their shoes. From the guy, everybody's getting rip roaring drunk and like a testament to American ugliness. This was what he was known for. He would be sent to, hey, Hunter, I need you to go cover the Little League World Series. And he would end up sending back late only his notes, and his notes would be about, like, the fucking kids' parents, and, like, little Johnny, the second baseman, had quite a strong arm on him, no doubt from where his father had struck him several times, and he had learned power at a young age. His father is believed to have been quite the pederast in the local community, molesting quite a few kids on the baseball team, but coincidentally, the strongest members of the team. Say what you will for Mr. Johnson and his proclivities of fucking young boys, the man could pick a winner. That was Hunter S. Thompson shit. The other thing to keep in mind here, this is very similar to Vice. Now, I know Vice has a sheen of respectability these days, because, it's, God, fucking modern Vice videos, like, we sent this Brooklyn non-binary hipster to Kazakhstan to find out what the fish market is like. And it's just fucking weird. It's a very important thing, but they've completely... Vice was founded by Gavin McInnes, later the founder of the Proud Boys, and it was such a weird... It was a very weird tone. But yes, like, I'm going to test all these... A Vice article at that time would be like, it would be like ranking heroin, or, like, I did a bunch of Adderall and read Dr. Seuss books. Here are my rankings and analysis. That was Vice at the time. So this would not be an odd thing to test a bunch of self-defense equipment on yourself. The magazines that contacted him refused to cover the story due to liability concerns, again, insurance. But in 1999, Knoxville was contacted by Big Brother, a skateboarding magazine for which Jeff Tremaine, who would go on to be the director and executive producer of Jackass, was an editor, and he convinced Knoxville to do the stunt and film it. The stunt featured Knoxville testing out pepper spray, a stun gun, and a taser. And even this video it's horrible quality, which makes it great. And it's literally like him with an American flag and like, all right, I'm going to march into you now, and then getting sprayed and then getting tased. The big one was testing out a bulletproof vest by shooting himself at point blank range with a .38 caliber gun. It's fucking gnarly. You can see in the video, first off, they're driving to the middle of fucking nowhere. Because, you can't do that at a shooting range. They're driving to the middle of fucking nowhere in the desert. And he's so nervous because, like, does it matter that it's at this range? Think of the awkwardness of holding a fucking revolver in front of you. You can't get further than 3 feet away unless you're fucking Manute Bol and you have 7 feet arms. And even that still qualifies as point blank range. And shooting yourself in the chest just thinking like, this should work out fine. And he's terrified. And as soon as the gun goes off, they're all like, all right, let's get in the gun and fucking go. By the way, California, probably not legal to even, let alone shoot it, to fucking have that gun in the car. And I just love Johnny Knoxville's immediate elation, like, holy shit, I'm okay, I'm okay. That got him a lot of attention. Other contributors to Big Brother magazine at the time consisted of Chris Pontius and Dave England, who would become part of the Jackass crew, and Rick Cossack, who became their cinematographer. Around this time, so again, this is one of the weirdness of these things, is people, if you only know Jackass from the outside, it's like, these dudes are probably all old friends, and blah, 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 blah. Like, no, this was like an assorted gang of weirdos, and the fact that they merged all these scenes, I feel like the LA crew had it was a weird cobbling. Like, Johnny Knoxville didn't know Dave England or Wee Man or Danger Aaron, but they all kind of got mixed together as people who were contributing to Big Brother at the time. And then they got glommed in with 4 or 5 dudes from the CKY crew. So, the head of that, Pennsylvania resident and skateboarder Bam Margera, only like 20 years old. Insane that this guy has been a millionaire since he was fucking 20. He had been filming with his family and friends, collectively known as the CKY crew, short for Camp Kill Yourself. CKY, also the name of his little brother's band. I've seen in some documentaries that his father, Phil, now famous Phil Margera, was just a big early proponent of, and also like was the manager of his son's skateboarding career. Big early proponent of home video, would be just filming everything. So Bam, at a young age, was learning to do the same things. So he'd been filming and editing his own skateboard tapes for years when they started doing this. So he started making the CKY video series that would feature stunts, pranks, and skateboarding with a regular cast that would include Ryan Dunn, rest in peace, Brandon DiCamillo, Rab himself, Rake Yan and Margera's family, Mother April, Father Phil, Uncle Don Vito, and his elder brother, drummer for CKY, Jess. Like the Big Brother videos, the CKY releases became a cult hit. Dude, they were huge around here, which is funny because the first one is almost unwatchable. There's some interesting shit in there, but like CKY 2K, CKY 3, incredible at the time. Because again, not only I've only had one other experience like this, and it's been doing comedy. And if you are a comedian, listen to this, you're going to know how fucking cringy this is. But it's true. Having done comedy with, you might be aware of comedian Shane Gillis, who famously in October, I think 2019, was cast to SNL. And then almost immediately, old podcast clips of him throwing some slurs around in character. I think he got railroaded. But yeah, he got caught saying some naughty boy things, and they ended up firing him. He's doing very well for himself. But this was a guy, he was a few years ahead of me. Has never, believe me, the fucking level he was at when I met him 4 or 5 years ago, I'm still not at right now. And I'm not going to say he's my fucking buddy, because he's not, but like, you know, he recognizes me when I see him, and we have a good opinion of each other. I think he's fucking great. To watch this guy who used to be like waiting at the shitty bar open mic with me to go on stage, just same as me, like I got 5 minutes of shit, I want to try shit out, and just sitting there drinking beer, eating fucking tacos at Ortlieb's, and suddenly this guy's on CNN. This guy is on Joe Rogan. Like, I cannot describe how fucking odd that is. But the first thing we had with that was definitely the CKY guys, because it was something you heard about as something cool. It might be something your older brother was into, especially if you're a skateboarder. And suddenly, this rinky-dink little, like, what once was like a shitty locally made DVD by some local guys, they're on the biggest show in the fucking world. Even if you didn't know them personally, the fact that I could, you know what I actually did one day? When I was living in Philly, and my dad had died, and I'd inherited some money, and I was just, taking a little bit of break. This is so bad. Bam Margera's uncle, Don Vito, had gotten in a little trouble. He'd been a bad boy with some underage girls and felt him up. Ugh, fucking Don Vito. But as a result, he was on the sex offender registry. So you could look up his address and just like, I got nothing to do. I'll take a drive to Westchester. And like, oh, there's the fucking house from the CKY videos. 30 minutes from my house. Like, that's interesting. I didn't fuck with him or anything. That'd be fucked up. Although, groping up on itty bitty titty, not really good. I guess I could have fucked with him and not felt bad. Anyway, my point is, it was weird watching these local dudes who had been around and seeing them really blow the fuck up. So they'd become a cult hit and had attracted the attention of Tremaine, because again, Bam Margera's a skateboarding guy. Big Brother is going to be aware of what's happening there. Flew Margera to Los Angeles in 2000, where he first saw the second video, CKY2K. The video convinced Tremaine that the CKY group would groot the idea of a stunt and prank television show that Knoxville director Spike Jonze, he'd go on to direct Her and some other things, being John Malkovich, had been planning. After demo footage had been shot and pitched to several networks, Saturday Night Live offered to make them a subject of a recurring segment on the show. Could you imagine if Jackass broke into the mainstream? First off, it wouldn't have done well because SNL would have fucking hogtied him because SNL sucks. But, yeah, if we had been introduced to Jackass by a weekly SNL segment, that's such the wrong fucking audience in hindsight. Like, the SNL crowds are, like, liberal and urbane, which, I mean, not anything bad. I'm liberal and urbane, depending on who you're talking to and how much they hate me. But, like, these fucking dudes farting and, like, swallowing goldfish, that would done terribly on SNL. Totally missed their audience. Thankfully, they realized that the offer was rejected, and a bidding war between Comedy Central and MTV resulted in the three accepting a deal from the latter for a half-hour weekly show and greater creative control. So here's the thing. MTV at the time, I'm going to take a swig of beer here. MTV at the time was in a very interesting flux, where they were actually letting some really cool shit on the air. My favorite show of all time, Syphil and Ollie, came on during this era. A musical sock puppet comedy show. Go on YouTube. All the episodes are up there. SIFL and OLLY, Syphil and Ollie. The creator and one of the voicers and the main creative force behind it, Liam Lynch, was not only the director of Tenacious D and The Pick of Destiny and several other films, he also was taught songwriting by Paul McCartney himself, because he had won a scholarship to, Paul McCartney had bought his and Lennon's old performing arts college and gave out scholarships, and this guy Liam Lynch just signed up, and he learned songwriting from Paul McCartney, and then he went to record 60 songs while making this fucking sock puppet show, and it's the greatest thing ever. Get high and watch Syphil and Ollie. So Syphil and Ollie also at the time, like, Andy Milonakis is going to be a few years behind. Wonder Show is going to be a few years behind. Really interesting time where, I almost said WWE, MTV has taken a lot of chances. The only problem would be, and it would be to their downfall, MTV, the TV network, is notoriously stingy. So the 3 seasons these guys are going to be on, they're making nothing. No money. Nothing. Comedy Central is at least known for, once they have a hit on their hands, they shell the fuck out. Like, look at Matt Stone, Trey Parker. Both owned by the same parent company, Viacom. But, yeah, just MTV is known for being really fucking stingy. And it's insane. That's why it's crazy that this show really didn't last too long. So, let me see here. Alright. Anyway, we'll just keep going. Soon after the MTV deal, Tremaine approached Florida native Steve-O, where he worked as a clown at a flea market, and had him film videos of the stunts for his TV show, but none would be cleared by MTV management. To round out the cast, England brought in his friend Aaron McGaney, a fellow Oregon resident and extreme stunt participant. Preston Lacey would be the last of what is now considered the main cast to join, which I find hilarious, auditioning midway through the show's run by eating 4 bananas with the peels on. That sounds horrible. Show debuted on October 1st, 2000, and it was already fucking huge. The second episode aired MTV on a Sunday, the highest ratings in its history, drawing 2.4 million viewers among 12 to 34-year-olds, its target demographic. So not 2.4 million total, 2.4 million 12 to 34-year-olds. The show would run out its run in 2001 interview with Rolling Stone. Knoxville questioned how long the MTV show could last, and soon after announced that the series would end after its third season aired. He also stated discontent with MTV and the censors, who from the start of season 2 increasingly gave notes regarding what the show could and could not depict. In addition, Steve-O claimed that the cast salaries paid by MTV were meager. Because of problems with standards and practices, as well as the sudden departure of Bam and the CKY crew halfway through season 3, the Jackass crew did not attempt to create a finale to bring the show to a close. So, that first episode aired October 1st, 2000. Last episode is a technicality. The final regular episode aired August 12th, 2001. So, again, 3 seasons. It wasn't even on the air for a fucking year. And that was it of the regular episodes. They got out before 9/11. The final episode, it was a special episode though, would air roughly 6 months after the final episode, a special called the Gumball Rally 3000, about the annual race around Europe. I'm going to go through real quick some of these episodes and see some of the best things we had on there. We, of course, had fucking sledding down steps. I did a lot of that shit. We had the guys harassing fucking people on a golf course at a country club. Shopping cart madness. We were all about that shit. Let's see. The roller jump. Yeah, using skates to try and jump over a fucking sewage pit. The other fun thing about this, it was crash television, because there'd be like 15, 20 segments in an episode. Some of them would only last for like 3 seconds. Great one. Heavy Metal Wake Up. The band CKY sneaks into Phil and Ape's bedroom while they're asleep and start cranking out some death metal. Poo Poo Platter. Yep. Keep God Out of California. Chris Pontius dresses up as Satan with a sign, and fucking people attack him on the Hollywood Strip because, Christians, Christians are so tolerant. Bam and Brandon slapping each other. It sounds good. BMX Joust. Classic. Something with a casket. See, Fat Lip Escalators. Hockey fight. Oh, that was a good one. 2 dudes dressed up as hockey players, just encountering each other in public, beating the shit out of each other. Owing a lot to the public mayhem that Tom Green had really started, of really just like making an ass out of yourself in public. Don Vito's Dent. Yeah, we got introduced to Don Vito, Bam Margera's foul-mouthed, gibberish-spewing uncle. Again, weird thing. If you're a fan of the Ron and Fez show, Ron Bennington, this was a radio show that aired all throughout the country. Rest in peace, Fez Whatley. But Ron Bennington, a native of Chichester, Pennsylvania, turned out after the fact Don Vito was his close friend growing up. And he would tell stories on the air about them getting really fucked up and like stealing from fucking drug dealers and being chased across town. Just, butt piercing. That was a great one. Somebody pierced their butt cheeks together. But another thing. So there was a female member of the cast. I don't remember her name. I'll probably look it up. But they wanted to be more diverse because this is a bunch of white dudes. They had a woman who was on for a little bit. Hold on. I'm going to look up her name real quick. Stephanie Hodge. She appeared in the background of a few episodes. She was the nurse when they had the sperm count challenge. Very early into the show, she took part in a stunt where a mattress, pretty much they were sledding with a mattress, and this girl hit a bump and snapped part of her spine and pelvis. And there went the only female Jackass character. All right, let's see what else they have here. Oh, they have the loop-de-loop with Tony Hawk, where they try to go through with all sorts of things. I think somebody tried to go through on a hobby horse. Yeah, could go on forever. Show is awesome. Only lasted a year. Let's talk about some of the individuals. First off, Johnny Knoxville. Not his real name. I think Knoxville is where he is from. His real name is Philip John Clapp. Born in Knoxville, Tennessee, was trying to be a writer and an actor. Had a limited... this poor guy. He actually got some attention in Hollywood, but they kept insisting, much like Jackie Chan, a white trash Jackie Chan, he should continue to do his own stunts. And he continued to get maimed and beaten up everywhere he went. Bam Margera, I think I've said enough about him. He'll have Viva La Bam, which will focus more on his family and the CKY crew, and his obsession with really mediocre Scandinavian bands like Turbo Negro, and him. He did like Children of Bodom and Cradle of Filth. I'll give him credit where credit's due. That's fucking awesome. He would also have Bam's Unholy Matrimony, where he got married to a really cute fucking girl named Missy. And that was it was overproduced and shitty by then. Clearly, he just wanted the check. And the wife didn't last, but she was a cutie. I liked her. Steve-O, well, actually, hold on. Bam Margera, famously in the new Jackass Forever, he, after the death of Ryan Dunn, he took it very, very hard. He's been, again, somebody who has been rewarded for his worst impulses for 20 fucking years. He's just a dickhead to everybody. Again, I said before, being a local guy, everybody who's met him, nobody has a good opinion of him. He's a jerk off. Never to me personally. I only met him once. He was very nice. But yeah, Bam Margera, jerk off. He has spiraled out lately, going on Dr. Phil and fuck it. He's got a kid now, but he's a fucking fall down drunk to the extent that the Jackass crew kicked him out of the fucking movie. Now, it seems like they came to some agreement where he came in and filmed some things at the last minute, but he was too fucked up. They had to You were too fucked up to be in a Jackass movie. What kind of a pain in the dick were you? Steve-O was just as bad. Fuck, you could look up some shit of him. Like, videotaped his own intervention where, like, Johnny Knoxville and the boys can buy, like, dude, you're, like, he was actively trying to breathe more nitrous oxide than oxygen. It's a miracle he didn't have a fucking stroke. He took every fucking drug known to man, and it was enough that he finally got cleaned up. All his teeth got knocked out and replaced with veneers. It's really weird looking, but he's doing good these days. Check out his podcast. He's doing stand-up. Apparently, he says he makes more from stand-up than he ever did from Jackass. Chris Pontius, he would be in Wild Boys with Steve-O. He was the one most likely to take his clothes off dancing around. Not a bad-looking fella. Ryan Dunn. I have my own story with Ryan Dunn. 2009. I had just returned home from California after my father had died. I was living in San Francisco. I had been my best friends at that time were two dudes who were involved in independent film. They had made one feature length at this point. I had dealt in with that. I composed the soundtrack from scratch. I was nominated for Best Music at the Houston Comedy Film Festival, which is not as impressive as it sounds, but I was nominated. Shit. And the music was really good. My first hit song, Here's to Us Fools. And it was a hit in that everybody I knew had heard it and loved it, but it never got played anywhere else. When I came back, they were in pre-production for their second film, Booted. Don't go looking for it. It never got released. Real clusterfuck. Fuck the other guys. But one of the guys we had featured in it for a minor, not a cameo role. He played a health inspector. The basic plot of this movie is a guy trying to turn his life around, kind of a bum, slob kind of guy, gets his car booted in Center City, Philadelphia, while picking up school books for his girlfriend, who's like basically fed up with him. Because he is booted and can't move his car, and there's homeless people everywhere, he decides to start cooking hot dog, basically open a fucking food cart, only he's using the hot engine of his booted car to cook hot dogs for the homeless. And at one point, they, by the way, the meter maid who first gets his car booted is played by Alan Ruck, a.k.a. Cameron in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Super nice guy. We stayed at his place when we went out to Los Angeles. Super great guy. But we had Ryan Dunn appear in a few scenes as the health inspector, and such a sweet guy, such a really really nice guy. Not gonna lie, it was pretty evident he had an issue with alcohol even then. He showed up on the first day of shooting and was ecstatic to find out that there was a bar today that's the Voltage Lounge. But yeah, that there was a bar a block away from where we were filming. So the first time we had any kind of break during shooting, he went in for a fucking drink. Like, dude, it's 10:30 in the morning. Well, we're going. But still, very, very nice guy. As a matter of fact, about 8 months later, we had to do reshoots because of a major, major problem, unfortunately, with one of the cast members. We had to do reshoots, and Ryan Dunn was going to be in town for 12 hours, and he decided to come back for no extra charge and do these reshoots with us. So basically, Ryan Dunn he was living in the Midwest at the time with like a girlfriend, or he was staying there. He flew into town, did the Preston and Steve radio show to promote Jackass 3, which would be released soon in Philadelphia. The Preston and Steve show. The movie was obviously everywhere. He was helping his girlfriend's family move in the Midwest. So he came back home. He did this radio shot to promote the release of Jackass 3. Came and shot on a fucking houseboat with us on the Delaware River for 5-6 hours and then flew home. Great guy. Unfortunately, in 2000, later in 2009 or in 2010, very tragically, famously, but tragically, died in a drunken driving accident in or around Westchester, Pennsylvania, where lost control of the car after a night of heavy drinking and fucking exploded. And very sad. Very, very sad. But good guy. Good guy. Demons. So we all have. Dave England. All I remember of Dave England is it looks like he has a fake eye. I don't know. Wee Man, the short dwarf fella. He's great. Aaron McGaney. Preston Lacey, the big boy. That is the group. That leaves out the CKY boys of Brandon DiCamillo, Rab himself, Rake Yown. I feel like I'm missing one, but whatever. Oh, wait, hold on. Supporting crew. Brandon Novak, he's still really big around here as a recovery guy. So, controversies. At the time of its first broadcast in 2000, Jackass frequently featured warnings and disclaimers claiming the stunts that were performed were very dangerous and should not be imitated. Again, every especially dangerous stunts would have a crawl along the bottom saying, "Don't do this at home, you will die." Connecticut Senator and piece of shit Joe Lieberman wrote a public letter to Viacom, MTV's parent company, urging the company to take greater responsibility. MTV responded to the criticism by only airing Jackass after 10 p.m., but of course that didn't, A Montana man named, Jesus Christ. A Montana man named Jack, first name Jack, surname Ass, sued MTV for $10 million in 2002, claiming that the show was plagiarizing his name. He had changed his name in 1997, his original was Bob Kraft, to raise awareness for drunk driving after his brother and friend both died in a car accident. Guys, grief will make you do weird things. I have to assume that was shot down. Matt Dylan Shannon, an 18-year-old from New Zealand, was sentenced on November 23rd, 2012, to 3 years in prison for a charge of causing grievous bodily harm for his role in the dousing of a 16-year-old with gasoline and setting him on fire. Shannon's lawyer claimed that this act was inspired by the Jackass series, despite the fact that no such stunt ever aired on the show. We got a little story time here. I don't know if this is related, but I'm in high school at this time. My little brother Kenny is in middle school. I don't remember them doing a whole lot with fire. There must have been some on Jackass. We fucked around with fire a lot. Fire was fun. I accidentally burnt the woods down because what I would love to do, I'd go to the Walgreens 3 blocks away. I would shoplift aerosol deodorant spray cans. Yes. And then we'd throw them in a bonfire and they'd explode in the most awesome pyrotechnic fireball up into the sky. Well, we didn't put it out too well, and even walking home, saying to my friend Stefan, like, smells like someone's barbecuing. The woods were on fire. I was never caught, thank God. My brother Kenny and his friends were also doing the same thing. A few months later, had a little bonfire going. He's 5 years younger than me. And one of his friends decided it would be funny to spray lighter fluid at my brother through the fire to my brother, catching his pant leg on fire. Here's how I discovered this. I came home one day, and my little brother Kenny, so he's got to be young, like 10, 11, if not younger, comes like, Jess, I got to show you something. I'm really scared. And he shows me his leg, and it looks like Freddy Krueger. It is burnt. It is blistered. This is like the day after it happened. Like, dude, we gotta tell mom. She says, don't tell mom. Blah, 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 blah. I was like, what? All right, listen, I gotta tell mom. I said, like, all right, listen, we're gonna treat it. If it looks any worse, we have to tell mom. I'm not gonna be responsible if you lose your fucking leg. She says, okay, fine. So I talked to my paternal grandmother. God bless sweet old Marge. She didn't rat anybody out. Said, hey, my brother burned his leg. We want to treat it. We don't want my mom to find out because she'll be furious. Told me how to treat his leg. I treated his leg. Like, okay, hey, we got to get some Bactine. We got to get some ointment. Keep that leg out from under the covers. It needs to breathe for the time being. Don't cover it up. We can do a little bit of a bandaging, but make sure you change the bandage frequently so it doesn't heal to it. About 4 weeks later, I'm at home. I don't have a cell phone at this time. I'm at home, and I hear the phone go off. I don't answer. And the answering machine picks it up, and it's my mother, and she's screaming at me. Says, Jesse, I just got a call from Kenny's gym teacher saying that his leg looks like it has gangrene, and he told me that you knew and were treating it, and you didn't fucking tell me. I'm gonna kick your ass when I get home. Boop. She takes my brother to the doctor. She comes home, and she looks furious, and my brother looks sad. But me and him share an eyeball. Just say, like, hey, man, didn't rat you out. What had happened was he had shown some kids before gym class, before putting on, sweatpants. And a girl, because it's always a girl, fucking narked on him. And gym teacher said, Lynch, let me see your leg. And he showed him his leg and went down to the nurse. And the nurse called my mom, like, his leg looks gangrenous. This is the worst burn I've ever seen. You have to get him to a hospital immediately. Mom takes him to the hospital. She comes home. She's clearly angry, but she's quiet. Finally, she says, so I took him to the doctor. And the doctor told him to show him his leg. And the doctor responded, well, it's not gangrenous. Matter of fact, whoever's been taking care of it has been doing a pretty good job. Woo! Jesse Dram, leg burn treatment, MD, and comedian, and copywriter. Oh, this is why I love having a podcast. I love that I can share that old family chestnut. I'm going to pause this. I'm going to write this down so I can clip this. I gotta stop recording these during the week. So yeah, the downside is, with all this going on, like, oh man, that's cool how these guys can take all this punishment. They all became drug addicts. All of them. Steve-O, Bam Margera, Ryan Dunn. Johnny Knoxville seemed to do okay. He just mangled himself repeatedly. They'd go on to make Jackass the movie, 1, 2, and 3. And 4 coming out soon. Tragically, Ryan Dunn would die shortly after 3. Bam Margera tried to get his own directing career going, starting with the 2003 independent movie Haggard. It is unwatchable in retrospect, and I say that as somebody who watched it probably 50 times, maybe. So let's see. We're going to go down some lists here. Some of the best stunts from the show ever. Oh, deaths from Jackass. Copycats. Oh, God. Okay. We'll save this for the end. So, let's see what they have listed here. The Goldfish, Season 1, Episode 2. Steve-O swallows a goldfish whole, barfs it back up. Classic. Surprised the fish lived. Dizzy Boxing. Oh, basically the guys take turns boxing each other after spinning around in a circle and then throwing. Off-road tattoo. This one's funny. They take an off-road Jeep driven by Henry Rollins while somebody tries to a tattooist tries to tattoo a smiley face onto Steve-O's arm. This also was a factor. The reason they invited Henry Rollins to do this is that Steve-O had apparently stolen his girlfriend, and Henry Rollins was none too happy about that. Let's see. Poo Canoe. I don't remember any of these. Penis breaking motorcycle backflip. Oh, okay. So this was from a special they did, the tribute to Evel Knievel. Shortly after the death of Evel Knievel in 2007, legendary American stuntman, the Jackass crew set out to make a tribute video. In addition to the professional riders, the cast also included Johnny Knoxville, whose attempt at pulling a backflip on a motorbike was met with disastrous results. Properly titled Penis Breaking Motorcycle Backflip starts out with one of the professional riders telling Knoxville not to ditch the bike in midair, which is exactly what happens on his fourth and final attempt. When Knoxville lets go of the bike after pulling the ramp, it comes crashing down on him, landing right on his crotch. His penis was broken. He had to pee through a catheter through a year. Really, really bad. Sweatsuit Cocktail from Jackass 3D. Preston Lacey, big fella, wore a see-through sweatsuit, exercised for a while, and then everybody takes turn drinking his sweat. Poo Cocktail Supreme. Oh, my God. So, yeah. There's a porta potty with shit in it, and the guys take their turn sitting in it, and it gets launched like a boardwalk ride. Let's look at some more. Duck hunting. The guys, dressed as ducks, get launched over a lake, and their buddies shoot at them with paintballs. Shooting each other with paintballs was a lot of fucking fun, by the way. That was a good one. Beehive Limo. Some of the members are convinced that they'll be shooting another stunt in a limo when suddenly the driver gets out, locks the doors, opens the sunroof, and they dump in a beehive, which proceeds to sting the shit out of all of them. Nutball. The boys sit around in fucking jock straps and throw a giant toy dog bone to hit each other in the balls. Balls are hit, and it goes well. Mousetraps. An entire room full of mousetraps, and they just roll the fuck around. Let's see. The high five. A giant hand waiting at the end of a hallway as they lured their castmates behind to get smacked in the face. Golf course air horn. Of course, just go to a country club and blow an air horn every time somebody tries to shoot. Setting off fireworks in while Ape and Phil are sleeping. A lot of fireworks in there. I still have a scar right around my tailbone from where I stuck a firecracker in my ass crack and it blew up. We'll talk more about other people wanting to be jackasses. One of the best ones, rent-a-car demolition derby. The boys rent a car, make sure they get the extra insurance, and then return the car, almost like no questions asked. Like, okay, yeah, thank you. And the car's just destroyed. Filming the reactions. Jackass did pretty good with his candid camera type stuff, where it involved the unknowing participation of the public. The best one being, they go to a fucking proctologist. Ryan Dunn goes in, again, just complaining, hidden cameras. Like, yeah, I went to a party with a bunch of guys, and I just woke up feeling weird with my butt. I don't know what's happening. I wanted to take a look. They give him an x-ray, and he has a toy car stuck up his asshole, and it's hilarious. The proctologist is pretty great, just saying, like, don't tell anybody. Don't tell your friend here. It's bad enough that he knows. It's bad enough that I know. You have to just take it, just poop it out, and don't tell anyone. Get rid of the car, in fact. The Toro Totter, a 4-way seesaw in a bull ring. Incredible. Riot control test. This one is one of the more bitter ones. They shoot off rubber bullets on a shooting range, like you would use for like non-lethal protesters. And Steve-O and Bam Margera and Johnny Knoxville line up. None of the guys want to do it, but Johnny Knoxville's like, come on, guys. Oh, wait, no, it's not Steve-O, it's Ryan Dunn. And everybody's miserable. There's no jokes to be had. The jet engine, Ryan Dunn tries to recreate the Maxwell. If you've ever seen the guy in the chair listening to a stereo, and the music is so awesome it's blowing his hair back, only they put him behind a jet engine. Let's see here. I know we got more. The riot control test. The dollhouse poop. Just what it sounds like. This is what I talk about, that great gonzo editing. This entire sequence is only 30 seconds tops. It's a close-up of a dollhouse, and suddenly a gigantic turd drops on it that in perspective would be like a 7-foot man. Snake versus Dick Puppet. Chris Pontius bandages his dick up and sticks it through a glory hole where a snake then attacks it because it's dressed like a mouse. Beautiful. Jerking off sea cucumbers. Aaron McGaney dresses up like a terrorist, and they try to convince him he's actually going to be killed. Let's see. The butt chug. I'm not going to be doing this forever. We're going to get into it. Oh, fucking Steve-O piercing his cheek with a fish hook. Horrible. Again, the high five again. Department store boxing. They flew in super heavyweight boxer. So if you watch boxing in the 90s, there would be a freak show match they would do where they would bring in a guy named Butterbean. Clearly not an athlete, just a big dude with a mean fucking punch. And they'd put him in there against the ham and egger. I love the term ham and egger, by the way. If you don't know, the term ham and egger started in boxing. It basically just means a chump, a loser. Specifically call it a ham and egger because this boxer is of such little ranking, he is being paid for this fight with a ham and egg sandwich. But so Butterbean goes into a department store with Johnny Knoxville. They have an impromptu boxing match, and Butterbean is pretty game. He's like, nah, I'll let you have a free shot. He proceeds to clock Johnny Knoxville in the jaw. He cracks his head on a counter on the way down, and then smacks the tile floor underneath. Very clear, instantly knocked out, clear brain damage. He comes to, and the first thing he says is Butterbean okay? That's a fucking performer. Fun article I found here. Rank the jackasses from toughest to weakest. 1, Johnny Knoxville, definitely. He got fucked up the most. The bulls alone, the most dangerous thing, because fucking, say what you will about a skateboard is not going to stick a fucking wheel up your ass when you least expect it. Steve-O, again, he did a bed of nails. Oh, wait, no, somebody else did bed of nails. Point is, fucking big. Chris Pontius, I don't know, I don't think he was the toughest. He didn't do great stuff. Ryan Dunn did some crazy shit, got hurt a lot. Famously said during Jackass 2, I was miserable and injured the whole time. All right, this is a stupid list, so we're going to skip that. Here's something fun. 10 moronic teens who killed themselves mimicking Jackass. July 2014, 30-year-old Mark Ramiro and his friend of 15 years, Darnell Mitchell, so already these aren't teenagers, all-night binge of drugs and alcohol when they began daring one another. Mitchell was dared to lick a toilet. Afterwards, he decided to up the ante by taking a bullet to the chest while wearing a bulletproof vest. Guys, fucking acceleration here. Calm the fuck down. Like, okay, Mark, I dare you to call up your ex-girlfriend and tell her you miss her. Oh, shit. All right. Darnell, you got me on that one. I called her up. I said I missed you. Really not going to be good. So I dare you. Oh, I don't want to say. Okay, I dare you to set a daycare on fire. Well, that's a little more extreme than saying call your ex. pussy. All right. I'll burn down the teats and tots. The duo's intention was to create a Jackass-style video that would bring them fame and fortune. As the camera began to roll, Mitchell instructed Ramiro to shoot him in the chest, but Ramiro's aim was a little high, and he shot Mitchell once in the upper chest. Rushed to the hospital, Mitchell was pronounced dead. Ramiro stayed at the hospital and waited for authorities to take him into custody. Yeah, guys, don't fuck around with guns. There is a guy... Again, if we want to talk about local legends, we'll have something a little sadder. There was a local hipster known as Lord Beard. Why can't I remember his real name right now? Well, a local character named Lord Beard, who famously, you would see this guy everywhere. I saw him doing karaoke in fucking Media PA. He would always be at Ray's Happy Birthday bar. Roger McBride, and I'm only saying that because it's very public what happened. Stupid mistake on his part, but a real fucking tragedy. Very nice guy. Everybody would say would give you the shirt off his back. Always very kind to me. A few days before Christmas, and I believe 2017, a friend of theirs, military man, was using the shower at their house, had left his clothes downstairs, had left his service pistol downstairs. Again, military man. He carried a pistol. Roger, a little drunk. The family, the whole... it's a bunch of buddies hanging out in a house. They're getting ready to go out and do something. Starts fucking around with a gun, playing with it. His friend Jamie, who is his ex-girlfriend and a friend of his, comes down the stairs and enters the kitchen. He picks up the gun, points it at her, and pulls the trigger, and blows her fucking brains out. Because it was loaded. Immediately starts freaking out, in shock, saying, "Oh my god, I didn't know it was loaded." Police report flat out states the police were called. They showed up and they found him drinking rye whiskey by him having drank half a bottle, just in complete shock that he had just killed one of his best friends because he was fucking around with a gun. Guys, don't fuck around with guns, for God's sake. Let's go back to other people who died. A pickup truck and a burning chair. 18-year-old Adam Ports and 3 friends decided to create and record their own stunt. They hopped into a pickup truck and headed to the country. There, the teens took an old chair, set it on fire, threw the chair off the bed of the moving truck. In the chaos, one of the men lost their balance and fell out of the bed of the pickup, taken to the hospital, and died of head injuries the following day. The sergeant said they were trying to recreate a stunt they said on Jackass. Their lawyers put to say, there's no connection to any stunts we've done at all. Let's see. A carousel. A 20-year-old man in Germany, part of a group of 6 men known as the Bavarian Dumbasses. They would upload videos to the internet. One stunt, the young men taped a 20-year-old man to a spinning playground carousel. Then they attached a rope from the carousel to a BMW. The men put the car in full throttle to achieve maximum spinning velocity, which caused the tape to rip and hurl the man across the park. Died of a broken neck, covered in blood. The Mummy. God, there's a lot of these. 18-year-old in Norway, 2004. They played in traffic. One dressed up as a mummy. Got hit by a car running on a highway. Yeah, that shit happens. Ultimate Belly Flop, 2008. An honor student at a high school. 10 days away from graduating. They loved Jackass. One of the individuals in a moving car stated Evans did not have a good grip. Was he on top of the car? Jumped on the approaching car and landed on the hood in a belly flop. The driver panicked, slammed on the brakes, was thrown from the vehicle, landed headfirst on the pavement outside his home, pronounced dead, never gained consciousness. Another hood riding. 2002, 15-year-old in Albuquerque, New Mexico, attempted to recreate a stunt of jumping on the hood of a moving vehicle. Again, slammed the brakes, smashed his head. Oops. Railroad tracks. A 13-year-old Indiana boy and 5 other teens were imitating stunts. The 6 teenagers were speeding in a van 70 miles an hour across railroad tracks. After the third pass, the driver lost control and crashed into a parked van, causing the vehicle to slide 400 feet. One of them died. Oh, there was a camcorder in there. The teens also admitted to almost running over a bicyclist. I think cyclist would work. March 2008, 18-year-old Kid was car surfing, standing on top of a moving car, while sitting in a shopping cart. Mark Burbley held the bumper of a car that was driven by a friend of his. Car had a speed bump and sent him flying 33 through the air, landed on his head, died at the scene. Man, some people just take it too far. Number 2. This article also has like interesting titles. Number 2 is titled 123 Jump. A little tasteless. September 2005, 18-year-old from Vermont carrying out a pre-planned stunt with his 18-year-old friend, driving a 1995 Subaru Legacy at 30 miles an hour when he opened his door and jumped out of the vehicle with the car in cruise control. Oh, God. Coda in the passenger seat. So, all right, the driver jumps out of the car with it on cruise control at 30 miles an hour. The passenger grabbed the steering wheel, turned the car around to check on Paige, who was lying unresponsive in the driveway. Yeah, the guy who jumped out died because it was 30 miles an hour. Ooh, number 1, booze, stunts, and murder. In 2014, a 39-year-old father of 2 living in England, again, not a teenager, his butchered remains, 3 weeks later, hung out with a bunch of friends. 3 weeks later, his butchered remains were found strewn throughout different lakes in the towns near his home. Hi, I'm Neil Bushell, and I'm about to be spread across in chunks. It was later revealed that Bushell often spent time with his buddies. They drank heavily and willingly participated in dangerous Jackass-style stunts that the men often filmed. I'm also remembering now, we used to throw darts at each other's asses. I took one pretty deep. Some of the games involved serious harm. For example, they put chili powder on their genitals and set their pubic hair on fire. Who hasn't? There's just a couple fellas having fun. The violence escalated that night in March when the men brutally beat Bushell to death and chopped his body into 10 pieces. Steve-O, how... Does anybody else... Of course Jackass started this. Who could ever forget when Steve-O had himself chopped into 10 pieces and distributed across multiple fucking lakes in England? Here's a bonus one. A 16-year-old girl was an honor student in California. She met teens at a park. There they tried to reenact a stunt. The teens attached a rope to a merry-go-round and tied the end of the rope to a pickup truck. Truck sped off, spinning the merry-go-round with great force, throwing young Bobby 75 feet into the street where she died. Well, that's sad. All right, I am going to end this episode with I reached out and asked people on the internets if they could share how they attempted to be jackasses when they were young. And this will be the end of this episode. Shopping carts. Dude, shopping carts were so much fucking fun. I am surprised it took that long to realize, like, yeah, let's just get in a shopping cart and let your friend push you really hard and then fly out into a bush. It was fun. We also personally did you can only take so much from Jackass for this. We got it from Home Alone. We used to sled down the steps. Guys, if you have a sled, if you have stairs, take the cushions off your couch, put them at the bottom of the steps, and fucking sled down. It's fun. An ex of mine, I found a fire extinguisher with my little sister and friends, about 10 of us. We all set it off and blindly ran through it on opposite sides, aimlessly running into each other. I'm really shocked. Again, giving my geographical proximity, like, I must know somebody who hooked up with Bam Margera, but nobody will confess to it. I mentioned on the 2000s music episode last week, Jessica Simpson famously saved herself for marriage, married 98 Degrees singer Nick Lachey while still a virgin, and then, you know, the old phrase, once you pop the fun, don't stop, immediately started cheating on him with the Jackass guys, fucking Bam Margera, and then talking about it on Howard Stern. My friend Tony Cheslock, who's a comedian, swam through Lime Rock caves and almost got stuck halfway through. Someone said tire bola is where you cut down a tire swing made of a large truck tire and swing it in a circle as fast as you can. Everyone then tries to jump over it like a skip it. The thing has enough force to make a 16-year-old do a full flip. I'm surprised no one broke their neck. If you let go at just the right time, you can release all of that force directly at a friend's chest, head, or their mom's minivan. Antiquing was fun. You come across a friend who was asleep and you throw a bunch of flour in their face, and it's so light they don't wake up, but they look ridiculous. Tried to skate while not being really able to ride a skateboard. My friend was a dick and floored it. Why is it? Oh, he was trying to ski on a skateboard while attached to a car. His friend floored it, and he did about 20 feet across the parking lot and hurt himself. Comedian Dave Premiano. We jumped off my roof into bushes. One friend missed and sprained his ankle, messed up the gutters in the bushes, and when my mom noticed, she was about to call the cops because she thought someone was trying to break in. We fessed up and had to buy new bushes. Comedian Will Bozarth. Jumped off my friend's porch, hobbled home, went to the doctor, and found out my leg was broken in 2 places. That was the only thing jackassy, but I did a bunch of backyard wrestling and needed stitches and got more broken counts. I guess that kind of counts. Yeah, backyard wrestling was the same time. Comedian Luke Kincaid. We did a knockoff movie called Douchebags. How original. I did a stunt called Gorilla Bars where I was supposed to fall off the monkey bars, but instead my friend came and uppercutted me in the balls. Comedian Jim Gillespie. My brother sprayed Axe all over me and then set me on fire, and I did a front flip into the pool. We did that a lot. It was a lot of fun setting your friends on fire and pushing them into a pool. Comedian Cody Wright says, lately I've been recreating Bam in the present pretty well. That's him saying he has a problem with drugs. Check out Cody Wright. Check out his podcast, What Up, with Rob and Cody. Robert Cruz. He was on my Harry Potter episode. Comedian Eric Sadlasek. Waited till snowplows in my school parking lot pushed all the snow into the islands where basketball baskets stood. Stacks like 15 feet high. We cut a slide that was really just a straight drop. I went first and barrel rolled on pavement. Friend went second, and the snow just collapsed on him immediately. Fell the whole way and almost suffocated. Damn. Ooh, also rode plastic sleds on a twisty slide and got launched after the first rotation flat on our faces. I think he's a comedian, Shane Costales. Tied a bike to our friend's car and rode it with him gradually speeding up the car, wiped out and scraped up the entire side of my body. Comedian Chica Loca offers no details but says, I want to listen, post the deets. You got it, Chica. I farted. Drew Papsky, comedian Drew Papsky, had a shopping cart video of us crashing over curbs with the bushes near the Cherry Hill Mall with Raining Blood playing by Slayer. Hell yeah. Playing pranks on people at the mall, filling the fountain with bubble bath and filming security's reaction, having our own death matches on top of this cage structure in our town, random firework fights, my friend defecating in public under a no dumping sign. Drew, your people were doing it good. Running across Little League outfield games in a banana suit mid-play. Couple things I can't write in public. Yep. Comedian George Bruderman, Jump in the Bush. That was a fun one. Fan of the show, Lucas Purser. How you doing, Lucas? My buddies would get in shopping carts and fly into bushes. Never did it myself, but I watched and pissed myself laughing. Not a frame filmed. By the way, you don't have to film yourself being a jackass to be a jackass. Comedian Dorian Vasquez. I had some friends hold each side of a skateboard I was standing on over a chain link fence. The goal was for them to launch me and I do a grind. Instead, I fell and immediately got a piece of fence in the back of my knee. That doesn't sound very fun at all. And I know I had one more on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter at Jesse Dram, JESSEDRIHAM, because I do not have enough of a following there. Or anywhere, if I'm being honest. Comedian Dan Callahan, you can see him anytime at Soul Joel's, currently running out of Westover Country Club. They booked me to open for Ian Finance. They should book me again because I had a good time and I did great. And Dan is great and Soul Joel himself is great. So is Dan Sherman, their other guy runs around up there. Dan Callahan, my buddies and I attempted fireball tennis. We drenched a tennis ball in kerosene and then hit it back and forth. That sounds fucking awesome. We did this behind an abandoned building, and it landed on a pile of old dirty clothes, and everything caught on fire. Somehow we put it out, and then went to Taco Bell, which I maintain is a far more realistic commercial pitch for Taco Bell than I've ever seen on TV. Burn down a chunk of your town, go get a chalupa. Guys, this has been the Jackass Podcast Retrospective. Yeah, go see Jackass Forever. We'll be back in a little bit. You can tell I'm not doing regular recording dates. Life is just too hectic right now with the baby on the way, trying to do comedy and shit. The show's going to come out when it comes out. So email will be out next week. Go see Jackass Forever. Don't fuck Bam Margera. He's dirty. And that's it. Again, I'm Jesse Dram. Follow me on all the things. Share, like, subscribe. I really, we're doing good on numbers right now. I want to keep it going. I'm liking this Y2K podcast. If you have a particular Y2K, 2000s topic you want me to hit, send me a message at jessedram@gmail.com. I think that is it for me. I'm going to go now. Bye.